In this video, we're going to be going over NaytonTech's EF overhead console. We're going to be covering what's included in the box, how it works and functions, how to install it into the headliner, and also how to install the wiring. What's included in the box? You get the upper headliner mount. This goes on the top of the headliner. You get the lower headliner mount that is pre-installed with heat inserts for the bolts. You get two M6x40 bolts, four M4x15mm bolts, your wiring harness. Everything should be pre-done and cut to length. And you get the overhead console. Everything in here is pre-wired and cut to length. The last thing I wanted to show you guys is a demo of how this thing works, at least how the lighting works and how it should function. I've got our test harness here, so we're going to move this guy out of the way. We don't need it. And we're going to plug in our test unit. So I've got a 12-volt battery here. Let's turn this on so you guys can see how this works. So right now you've got 4 LEDs on each side. So we're going to kick on. This will be, that's the driver's side because this is the back where your sunglasses go. So driver's side, you've got 4 LEDs that shine down onto your seat. So if you're reading something while you're driving, that's what that switch is for. Same thing with passenger side. They have their own switch. These are angled. The driver cannot see these LEDs. The passenger can actually turn these on. These LEDs are not visible by the driver. I designed them specifically in that location. So it does not interfere or distract the driver. Your dome light, if you want all of them on, you can simulate turning your dome light on from here, or you can turn it on with the switch on the dome light. This one's a little more convenient. This will turn on the dome light as well, so it turns on all 8. And the dome light will come on with this switch. Also, if you flip the switch on the dome light, they will also kick on. Or open a door, just these 8 will kick on. The other function that you have is this guy. This is when you turn your headlights on, this light will come on and it shines straight down onto your center console, your shifter, anything you've got in that area. That area is very, very dark on the EFs at night. So I added this in to add just a little bit of illumination so that it's not quite so dark and you don't have to fuddle around for things down there when you're driving. Let's flip all these guys off here. Oops. That one and this one. And that is it for the demo. Like I said, this will be carpeted. I have a piece of carpet that goes in every single one. It is glued in 4 spots. And then you have your 2 extra switches. The switches look like this right here. Just little guys that you can wire in yourself for things like a hidden kill switch, things like that. The carpet does cover those up. So even if you do have, you kind of have to feel for them, but even if you do have somebody that looks up there, they will not see the switches. It is a complete 100% hidden switch that I have built into this. How to install your EF overhead console. The first thing you're going to need to do is remove your headliner. We're not going to go over that in this video. There should be plenty of videos online on how to remove the headliner from your EF. Since there are 4 different models, there are 4 different ways to do it. To install the mounting brackets on your headliner, you're going to need a few tools. You're going to need a drill, a 5mm hex wrench, a 2.5mm hex wrench, an 11/64 or something close to the size drill bit, and some type of a marking tool, permanent marker, or a nice pen to mark where you're going to drill your holes. Most of the work that we're going to be doing is going to be on the top side of the headliner that you're never going to see. We're going to do all of our marking and cutting from this side. That way we're not messing up the good side that you see on a day-to-day basis. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to take the top piece and you're going to mark your 4 holes in each one of the corners where you're going to drill your holes at. The other thing you're also going to do is you're going to take the bottom piece and hold it and line up the holes fairly close, and you're going to make a black line and a mark on this side, so the upper side towards the front of the cart. You're going to make a mark just like I did here, so you know where to cut your hole. Use the 11/64 drill bit to drill your holes, mark your line, and then cut somewhere around this size of a hole. It's probably around 1 inch by 1.5 inch size. Make sure it is on the upper side or the front side of this black line. Once you're done with that, you can take your top mount. You can put your bottom mount on this side. Line them up. You're going to make sure that the two bigger heat inserts are actually on the bottom. So this part's flat. The part that matches up against your headliner is the curved part. Put your M4 bolts in and tighten it down. Do not tighten them too much. You can actually tear or rip your headliner if you tighten them too much. There's some foam in here, so it will tighten, but you don't need to tighten it to where it's just too tight. So cinch them up. Make sure that it gives you a little bit of a bevel in here, and that's as good as you need to get. How to wire in your EF overhead console. Included in the package, we talked about earlier, is your wiring harness. For a factory Honda 88 to 91, this should work 100% without having to cut or modify anything. The orange wire is for the illumination. It is for this little LED right here. It only comes on when you turn your headlights on. This wire, there's 6 feet here, should be plenty enough to get from where the overhead console is across to the driver's side A-pillar, down the A-pillar, and down to the fuse box. In the fuse box, and I'll show a picture here, there's going to be 3 or 4 male spade connectors. One of them, when you turn your headlights on, will power up to 12 volts. There are some diagrams out there, but it is best if you do have a voltmeter to test it first and make sure that you are getting the one that turns on only when your headlights turn on. That is where this one goes. This is optional. You don't have to use the ambient one, but it is there if you guys want it, and it is included and pre-wired. On the other side, well, you've also got your 4-pin connector here. This connects directly to the connector here on the overhead console, and you'll connect that once you put the headliner back in, and then you put the headliner or the overhead console when you bolt it up. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. The other end of the harness has a total of 5 connectors, but there are 2 power, 1 ground. So the power's constant power, 12 volt. So because your overhead or your factory dome light has power all the time. That's how it works without the key on. It uses a thin spade connector, and on your factory dome light here, there are 2 spade connectors on the top. There is a skinny one, and then there is a fat one, or a wide one. The skinny one is where your power connects. That is where the red one will connect. And then the wide one is where your purple wire is going to connect. This is the wire that comes from your doors. So once you connect it here, you notice that there are 2 purples. This was where your factory harness plugs in. So you're going to unplug your factory wiring from here. You're going to plug it in here, and this harness kind of goes in between your factory wiring, and then you plug this into the dome light, the female side. Same thing with the red. It has one side that plugs into factory wiring, one side that plugs into the dome light. Once those are connected, this will be your last one, and you can't connect this one until you put the dome light back up inside. This connects to that single screw that you had to pull out to remove the dome light itself. So you're going to feed it through like so, and then connect it and put the bolt through it. Hopefully that kind of comes through on video. So that's the only one that's probably going to be out of the whole thing. That's going to be your hardest little piece, is getting this back in there. that is it for your wiring. Now there's a couple tips and tricks that you can use if you want. When putting this in, obviously it's going to want to move around a lot. So what you can do on your headliner is you can kind of feed this through here, maybe tape it, and also feed this side through here and kind of tape it down here so that it doesn't move around on you when you're putting your headliner back in. The last piece of the install that you're going to need to do is you're going to obviously put this in once you get your headliner put back in. So let's pull this headliner over. Obviously we're not going to be able to do this easily in the car, so we're going to show you here. On your harness, you're going to have this little piece sticking through. You're going to connect these two. And it's going to go this direction. And the only thing you have to worry about when installing this is that you're not pinching any wires. Everything should line up. Make sure there's no wires getting pinched. And then you're going to take your two M6 by 40 screws, and one's going to go here and one is going to go here, and you're going to cinch those up till it's tight and flush. You should be able to see inside here that there should be no gap. If you can see a gap in there, you might need to go a little bit tighter. Other than that, that is it, and you are done. As long as you're plugged in and all your wiring is done, you should be able to test it 100% with these switches, with your headlights, and with the dome light and the doors. Everything should work like we showed you in the demo. Thank you for purchasing the NaytonTech EF overhead console. If you guys have any suggestions or questions, please don't hesitate to hit us up below in the comments, NaytonTech@gmail.com, Facebook Messenger, Instagram Messenger. We have our own Facebook group. You can join there. We are always on social media, ready to answer your questions and just hang out and chat. See you on the next video.